Hello YouTubers, this is Bill McFadden from Tone Pure Music, and we're going to take a close look at Spitfire's chamber strings. Now, why would we want to use chamber strings when we have so many orchestral libraries that have strings? Primarily, the chamber strings are going to give us more grit and more definition. You can layer them in with orchestral strings for more definition. And let's take a look at what we have here. We have the first violins, and in this library there are 4 first violins. We have second violins, and they have 3 second violins, as well as 3 violas, 3 celli, and 3 string basses. So we have a total of 16 violins altogether. And so the first one we'll look at is the violins 1, and we'll look at the legato patches, and we'll compare the first violins, second violins, violas, cellos, and basses with their legato patches. So here we go. Here's the legato. So with the legato programming, you actually can do trills, and they sound fairly decent. So here's your second violins. So really clear definition with just the 3 violins. And then in violas, start to hear the grit. And the cellos. And remember, we have 3 cellos. Now the basses. And then, so there you have your legato patches. Now, the next articulation we'll look at is the long articulation. Same articulation with the second violins. Remember, we only have 3 violins, so it's a little thinner. And then the violas. then same articulation with the cellos. And then we'll look at the longs with the basses. Okay, then going to the next articulation in the first violins would be your short spiccato. Second violins. Violas, spiccato. Spiccato on the cello. And then spiccato on the basses. So a lot of grit in the chamber patches. Then the next articulation we have in the first violins would be staccato. So there's a little bit of sustain. Now we can just, well, I guess we could still compare. Let's go down to the second violins. Staccato. Violas. And cello. Remember, only 3 cello. 3 of everything except first violins. And then basses. See where the basses go. Aha. It wasn't loaded. Here it sort of sustains a little bit. But when we go, let's go over to the... Okay, next we'll start at the top with violins, and we'll go to the pizzicato. Second violins, pizzicato. And then violas. And then also we have cello. Now, all three of the mic positions, as you can tell, are being used in each of these articulations. You have your close, you have your tree, and you have your ambient mics. So they're all represented. And then we have our basses, pizzicato. Okay, then we have the next articulation we have is collegno in the violins. Now I'm just going to go through the remaining articulations in the same instrument. So here we have the tremolo, unmeasured, your minor trill, and your major trill. Second violins, here's our tremolo, minor trill, major trill, major second, then in the violas, here's your tremolo, minor trill, whole tone trill, or major second, and then in the cello, minor second trill, major second, then your basses, minor second trill, so your low for trills for minor seconds is E flat. Here's your major second trill. And I think I skipped collegno. Okay, so here's collegno for the basses. Notice that grit. Collegno for the cello. Collegno for the violas. Collegno for your second violins. And collegno for the first violins, of which we have 4. Okay, so now what else we have is we have the ensemble patch, okay, and we have something else called core techniques for each of the categories. first and second violins, violas, celli, and basses. And we also have something called decorative techniques for the first and second violins, as well as your violas, celli, and basses. So we have tons of articulations in the chamber strings library by Spitfire. So let's go ahead and start with the ensemble patch, which we haven't looked at yet. We have the first articulation is the long. And let's move down to the, there we go, ensemble patch. We have a nice Sordino patch next. Then we have Sol Pont. So playing close to the bridge. Then we have Sol Tasto. Playing on the fingerboard, and then a long flotando, very whispery technique. Very nice. And then we have the long harmonics. Spiccato. Nice for ostinatos, for action music. And then we have staccato. And also Sordino shorts. Never have seen this articulation in any other library. Doesn't mean they're there, but not there, but it's a rare kind of an articulation. Sort of more of a delicate vibe when you have your muted strings, and then short, and then you have your pizzicato. And then we have, what do we have? Pizzicato Bartok. Really hard on the bow. And then we have collegnal. And then tremolo. As well as our minor trills. And the lowest is C2. And then we have our major second trills. And that's it for that. Now we get into the chord techniques. So that was all the articulations in the ensemble. Then in the chord techniques, you do have a long. Whoops, let's go back up to violin's chord techniques, which would be right there. Okay. So you have your long. Then you have your consordino, so you have your mutes. And your harmonics, long. So the low is G5. And then we have our flotando. Solpant. Long solpant. And then we have distorted long solpant. Saltasso. And sol G. So they're just playing on one string, the lowest string of the violin. And then marcato, so you have a strong attack. And then we have spiccato. Followed by spiccato feathered, so it's more delicate. And then staccato. And then staccato with a dig. So they're digging into the string. Another articulation that you don't see anywhere else that I'm aware of. Again, the short consordino, this time just on the first violins. And then pizzicato. Pizzicato Bartok. As well as collegnal. Then we have chord techniques for the second violins, and again we just have 3 violins this time. So here's your longs. Then your consordino. Your long harmonics. Flotando, sopant, long soltato, and your sol G, just the one string. That's as high as you can go, which is C5. And we have more. There's spiccato, as well as staccato. Consordino short. And then pizzicato. And then we have pizzicato Bartok. And Legno. And that's the articulations in the core articulations for violins too. Then we have core techniques for the violas, starting with the longs. Consordino. Long harmonics. Okay, we're actually doing violas at this point. Flotando. Sopant. Soltasto. And long sol G, lowest string on the viola. And then we have Pizzicato. And staccato. Consordino. Well, that can't be right. No, that's short consordino. And then pizzicato, as well as pizzicato Bartok. And collegno. And we have the core cello techniques, so starting with the longs. Consordino. Long harmonics. and flutando. Salpant. Long salpant. And here's long salpant distorted. Saltasto. Long sol C, the lowest note on the cello, or lowest string, C string. So again, about an octave and a half for the sol C or sol G. Okay, and then we have the marcato. So there's your grit. Lots of grit in the chamber strings. And then Pizzicato. Spiccato, sorry. And then staccato. And then con sordino, short. Doesn't sound like con sordino. And here you have your pizzicato. And then pizzicato Bartok. And then collegno. Whoops, there we go. I'm surprised that con sordino in the it must have really been wailing on those strings with the mutes on. As an example, here's the collegno or the con sordino sharp or short with the violas. You can sort of hear it there. And you come down to the cello. Maybe it's because I'm hitting it with a strong attack. So if you want a bold sound, go ahead and hit the cello with the short con sordino with a high velocity. And that'll give you that bold sound. Here's your basses. Oh, actually, we're not quite done with the... I guess we were. Okay, so now we have the basses. Longs. And then we have harmonics. With the basses. So we get about an octave and a half range. And then flotando. Salpant. Is that grit or what? Salpant distorted. Mega grit. And we have spiccato. And then staccato. Here the sustain sort of. You can almost and we have staccato dig. Then we have pizzicato. And then Pizzicato Bartok. And Caligno. So that's your basis chord techniques. Now the only thing left is violins 1, 2, violas, cello, and basses with decorative techniques. Like I said, there's tons of articulations in this library. So here's violins 1, decorative technique. Okay, let's get down there. So violins 1, decorative technique. Long salpant, consordino. So where have you seen consordino with long with salpant? Not too many places, if at all. Tremolo. Look how clear that is. And then we have tremolo salpant. Consordino tremolo. and concertino, tremolo, sopant. So got all kinds of articulations. And here we have measured tremolo 150, 180, and your minor second trill, major second trill, as well as minor third. And fourth trills. As well as effects. Okay, so here's a slide, violin slide. Okay, then we have runs. And some falls. Tenths long. Suspense articulations. And that's violins 1, violins 2. Starts out with the same articulations, has the same ones. But remember, there's 3 second violins, so everything's a little sharper. Tremolo. And we're going to minor trills, major second trills, then your effects again. Same slide, runs. Disco fall. Again, the tenths longs. Various effects for bedtime music. And then the violas, decorative techniques, sopant. A lot of grit. Concertino, tremolo. And your tremolos. 180s. Minor second trill. Major second. And then we have the effects. Slide, runs. Sounds like a mordant. Disco falls. Your tenths long. Random, sort of like colignals. And then we have the cello. Decorative techniques. Here's your sopant. Tremolo sopant, Consordino tremolo, Tremolo consordino sopant. Your 150 tremolos, measured 180s, minor second, major second trills, and we have basses. Oh, wait a minute, we're not finished yet. We have the minor thirds. As well as the fourths. And your special effects. A lot of nice effects in there. And we have runs. And we have disco falls, tenths. And a little bit of a cluster thing going on. Different. And basses next. And we have tremolos. Sopant tremolos. Measured tremolos. And we have your minor second trills. Major second. And effects. Here's your tenths. Apparently it only starts at C2, nothing at C1, at B1. And here we have very unusual to have effects with basses. Not too many sample libraries. So that pretty much covers all of the articulations in the multis. I do have individuals as well. but pretty much they'll fall in these categories. So this is Bill McFadden from Tone Pure Music signing off. If you like this video, please click like. If you wish to subscribe for upcoming videos as soon as they appear, then please subscribe. So Bill McFadden from Tone Pure Music signing off.